at just 18 years old. Most teenagers are trying to figure out who they are, but Gio Reyna, at 18, he had millions of eyes watching him. European giants tracking his every move. American fans calling him the future of U.S. soccer, and a weight on his shoulders that very few teenagers on earth ever feel. This is not just a story about talent. This is a story about expectation, pressure, legacy, and growing up too fast. This is the story of Gio Reyna. Gio Reyna was never just another kid with a ball. He was born into football royalty. His father, Claudio Reyna, was one of the greatest American players of all time. A World Cup captain, a European veteran, a U.S. soccer icon. His mother, Danielle Egan, was a former U.S. women's national team player. Football wasn't something Gio chose. Football was in his blood. From the moment he could walk, the ball was at his feet. From the moment he could think, the game surrounded him. But legacy can be dangerous, because when your last name is Reyna, you're not just playing for yourself. You're playing against expectations you didn't create. As a kid, Gio didn't just stand out. He dominated. At youth levels in the United States, it quickly became clear this kid was different. His vision, his composure, the way he played like he had more time than everyone else. But American soccer has a ceiling, and the Reyna family knew it. So they made a decision that would change everything. At just 16 years old, Gio Reyna left home and moved to Germany, to Borussia Dortmund, a club known for trusting youth, a club that turned teenagers into superstars. But Europe is not forgiving, especially to Americans. In Germany, Gio Reyna wasn't Claudio Reyna's son. He was just another kid trying to survive. The training was faster, stronger, more ruthless. Mistakes weren't forgiven. Confidence could disappear overnight. But Gio didn't panic. He adapted, quietly, calmly, patiently. Inside Dortmund's academy, coaches began to whisper, this kid sees the game differently. Then came the moment. January 2020, Bundesliga debut, at 17 years old. And suddenly, the world noticed. By the time Gio Reyna turned 18, it was official. He wasn't just a prospect anymore. He was starting matches in the Champions League, scoring goals in the Bundesliga, creating chances against some of the best defenders in the world. And back in the United States, fans were losing their minds. This is the future. This kid is different. He's going to change U.S. soccer forever. At 18, Gio Reyna had something no American teenager ever had before: global expectation. But with attention comes pressure. And pressure doesn't care how talented you are. Every touch was analyzed, every mistake magnified, every performance compared to legends. Social media turned brutal. One bad game? Overrated. One missed chance? Not ready. And then came the injuries. Small ones at first, then bigger. Momentum stopped. Confidence tested. For the first time in his life, Gio Reyna wasn't flying. He was fighting. And for a teenager, that can break you. Then came the 2022 World Cup, the biggest stage in football, the moment every player dreams of. But for Gio Reyna, it became something else. Limited minutes, questions about attitude, stories leaked, criticism exploded. Instead of celebration, it was chaos. The pressure reached a level number 20-year-olds should ever face. And once again, the world was watching, not to cheer, but to judge. Gio Reyna's story isn't finished, not even close, because this isn't a story about early success. It's a story about growing under a microscope, about being talented enough to shine, but human enough to struggle. At 18, the world watched Gio Reyna. But the real question is this: who is Gio Reyna becoming now? Because greatness isn't defined at 18. It's defined by who you become after the pressure. This story isn't just about football. It's about expectations, about pressure, about being young in a world that demands perfection. Gio Reyna reminds us of something important. Talent opens a door, but character decides how long you stay. And his story? It's still being written. If you believe in football stories, if you believe in comebacks, if you believe in the future of American soccer, subscribe because the story is far from over.